Well, I'd like to introduce you to a tool that we've called a sustainability calculator. You'll find it on the Tools drop-down menu, and the aim of the tool is to encourage you to use it at the end or near the end of a design process. And have an example here on the right hand side of the screen. It's a little design for a rear garden developed by a user in Holland, and the calculator poses a series of questions that get you thinking about the sustainability of your design. The first question asks you to make some assessment of the percentage of the site or surfaces, garden beds and gravel pathways and so on. And in this example there's a studio here which is obviously impermeable, but the rest of the site is permeable, and there's 16.5 metre square studio, 135 metres for the area, and that's just calculated by dropping a rectangle over the site, and in the properties box take a look at it. So 85% of that site is porous. So a site where 90% of the site consists of hard surfaces would rate a 1. So in this case, we've got most of the surfaces permeable, we'll rate that a 9. Then think about the species that are selected in the design. Here the designer has specified mixed planting of species that are native to the locality, so they've paid a great deal of attention to that in their design. So we'll rate that a 10. And does the design incorporate any plants that are likely to escape and become a pest? Well, clearly, because the species chosen are native to the area, they're not going to be a problem. Does the design incorporate any collection of rainwater? So let's take a little look here. There's a downpipe by the living room which takes rain from the main roof and deposits it into a pond. So clearly that rates very well. As we're filling out numbers in this column, this landscape sustainability rating is being calculated. Now, does this site incorporate a lawn is the fifth question. Well, in this case there is no lawn, so we can happily rate that 10. And is an irrigation system installed? If it is, score low for overhead and high for a layer under mulch. Now if you are not using it, just type 5, and that is an average sort of figure. In this case there is no irrigation system. Now, does the design take account of borrowed landscapes? And clearly it does, because over here on the left of the pond is a whole lot of planting that's on the neighbour's property, similarly down in the back corner. So we'd rate this design quite highly in that regard. Has attention been paid to drainage on the site? A well-designed site will drain to the lowest points, and you put little bog plants there, and that's the suggestion in this design. And you've put an outdoor entertaining area in the northern hemisphere. You want that to face south, and portion of it does. The north is in that direction, south here. I think we could probably score that a little higher, maybe a 6. And can you see what these questions are doing? They are getting you to look at your design and think about these aspects. Is there a fire risk in the garden? Well, clearly it's not, so we'll leave that neutral. I'm not sure whether if we type in a 0 will that affect our rating, and it does a little, so let's just leave it at 5 for an average value. Are there any reflective surfaces here? And we can give that a rating as well. Mulching been specified. Well, it actually hasn't, and I think I need to go back and add some notes for the mulching that's going to be included in the garden area. But this is in a sense a concept plan, so we perhaps don't need that sort of detail. And have appropriate low impact materials. Well, I happen to know in this site most of the materials have been recycled, so we can score that 7.23, and we're saying here a value greater than 5 is considered quite reasonable, so we're really close to achieving good sustainability. And if I add some extra notes, we'll come to a value of over 7.5. So we could develop a little logo saying approved sustainable design, or words to that effect. So let's, and then close it, and I'll zoom extends here. So here's our design, complete now with logo, and the site address and so on will be included. But what it's done by running through those, it's really a checklist, isn't it, for your design. And it's, for example, there wasn't drainage to the pond when we were looking at this initially. We could put a little note, reclaim existing hammock furniture and so on, and I can spot some little mistakes in the design at this stage which I'd want to fix up. But clearly I'll put line weight on too. The pergola then shows out in a little more detail. So I hope you can see that the sustainability calculator, while not perfect, it's really doing its job. It's making me look at the design and see whether the designer here has paid attention to the sorts of issues that are raised by those questions.